Let's play a game, shall we? How many cranes can you count from the top of Primrose Hill? There's quite a lot of them, and that's because London is a city that's constantly under construction. But there's a few places where you're not allowed to build. Not because of what's there, but because of what's behind. These are London's protected views. Let's go take a look at another one. This is King Henry VIII's Mound in Richmond Park. It's probably the best example of this bizarre rule. Through this gap in the trees is an uninterrupted view of St. Paul's Cathedral over 10 miles away. Now, it's barely visible to the naked eye, but luckily there's a telescope just over there to help out. Here, and at several other viewpoints across the city, sightlines to St. Paul's and other London landmarks are protected. That means nothing is to be built in the way which could jeopardise the view. To understand why, we need to go all the way back to 1894, when a new rule was enacted preventing the construction of buildings over the height of a fireman's ladder. That was about 10 stories at the time. That meant that St. Paul's Cathedral remained London's tallest building for the next 40 years. It wasn't until the 1930s rolled around when city planners were suddenly under huge pressure from developers to let them build taller buildings. Buildings like the Empire State Building were showing just what could be achieved in a new era of architecture. So in 1938, the City of London came up with the Protected View System, which set up corridors from viewpoints all across the city to London's landmarks whose sightlines could not be broken. St. Paul's Cathedral was only beaten as London's tallest landmark in the 1960s, when 19th century 10-storey laws were finally lifted. And since then, London's skyline has been filled with skyscrapers. However, the Protected View System continues to hold. A great example of this is on Fleet Street, where the cheese grater slopes back off the road to allow for an uninterrupted view of St. Paul's. However, here on Hampstead Heath, the rules were bent a little to allow London's tallest building, the Shard, to figure in the background of St. Paul's. So will these rules hold into the future? We all know that London is in the midst of a housing crisis. So how fair is it to prevent the construction of new housing simply to protect some nice views, especially when those views seem only to be protected in the most affluent parts of the city? The truth is, until the City of London's core strategy comes up for review again in 2026, little is actually going to change. At points like this across the city, Londoners and tourists alike will be able to enjoy uninterrupted views of some of London's most famous landmarks. And you do have to admit, it's a hell of a view. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. What's your favourite protected viewpoint in London? Let us know in the comments below. For more Historically Hot, make sure you subscribe to What's Hot London and hit that bell icon for notifications. Until next time, I'll see you later.